Just did. I just did.
So don't tell me what to do.
Yeah.
Leave meeting. I'm just kidding.
Right. He's giving us a window into his home by leaving the camera on.
Nice.
Be like, this is where D-Rone unwinds.
There's this girl on TikTok that is really horrifying.
What
She's
is
like,
she have a
sh
shitty attitude or what's horrifying about
no,
her?
she can find anyone. Like,
Oh, you've told me about this. Yes, yes,
yeah, it's
yes.
just wild. It's so wild.
Are you sure that's not Jane? Because she has
No,
that.
it's even worse than Jane. And I used to
Oh,
think that I was tough, badass at that too. It's bigger than that.
on another level.
She's like, and then I zoomed in and saw that you had a package on your porch. And then I went to Zillow and saw that that was your kitchen that was in a video that you posted on, like, it's crazy.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there's people out there that's just what they excel at,
Yeah. Find him, motherfuckers.
right?
Are you watching the chat on YouTube? Maybe I should. Oh, let me post that we're live while we're waiting.
I was about to set up my little screen here because not to
199.
not to brag or anything, but my computer seems to lag in the summer when I have a bunch of different windows open.
Okay.
So I bust out the tablet and I could monitor the chat through the
Nice.
YouTube app on there and not have to worry about burdening my already. What's going on?
Let's see.
But there is three people watching. Yeah, stream for me, YouTube. Shout out to CW.
Shout out.
All right, so I got that going.
Fun.
Thanks for reminding me, man.
It's Friday. Yeah.
It's not Friday when people listen. It's time is ambiguous when people listen.
Oh, that's right.
It's whatever time it is,
It's
baby.
yeah. You're alive. Be
That's all that
happy.
matters.
Mhm. Word. Like my straw is too loud.
Your straw.
My metal straw.
I think you're just being self-conscious about something that's no big deal.
Okay, you tell me. Is that loud? Can you hear that? No?
No, no. What about sound off in the chat? Can you hear her? Can you hear Quanah Straw? Let us know. If it is becoming a nuisance, we'll tell her to pack it up, hit the bricks. She's out of here.
Yeah,
Nah.
we don't care about your sensitive teeth. You're
Or
drinking.
we should reach out to Sensodyne and be like, "Hey, you want to sponsor our show?"
I would never put that toxic shit in my mouth. Are you kidding me right now?
Well, you got sensitive teeth? What are you talking about sensitive teeth for?
Oh, I use
For
a
straw.
straw because it used
Oh,
to be like, don't want to stain them or whatever, but yeah.
for what? The White Claws? Is that what you got? What do you got going on tonight?
Vodka and a flavored soda. I use like like little flavor. It's like it's White Claw adjacent. Only
It's
can
kind of
add a
like a
little bit
White
more
Claw, isn't it?
vodka. Hmm.
It's sort of
These like
clawish.
they kind
Yeah.
of, yeah.
They make some
Laura's
good
been getting
flavors
those.
though. In the little seltzers, they make some good flavors. So
Yeah, I don't do the White Claws anymore. They go down real easy.
too easy.
So if you're used to drinking like a bunch of Coors Light, Miller, like, and then someone starts handing you White Claws, then it's like,
Yeah. And
it's gonna be a
you
rough
don't
day
account for the
tomorrow.
sugar. There's sugar in it, and I'm not used because I'm a vodka soda
Oh
girl,
yeah.
so I'm not used to the sugar. So when I drink White Claws, they go down so easy, and I'm like, eat no laws, what? And then the next day I'm like, oh my God, like I haven't had that
Yeah.
much sugar in a year. Yeah. But I keep
I
buying
had that.
cases of them at Costco. I can't stop.
Sometimes Laura will get the White Claw surges, like
Oh,
the
okay.
16-ounce cans.
Yeah.
that are stronger, and yeah, they'll do a number on your stomach if you're not careful. They almost
Do
ruined a
they have
vacation a couple
caffeine
years
in
ago.
them?
I don't
I always
know.
think Surge is like a caffeine thing, but maybe it's just more stuff. Gotcha.
No,
I really think
surgeons.
they're just running out of words to call
Okay.
stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So they were just like, we're gonna make a what call it stronger. Let's call it Surge.
Surge. Like it.
Surge.
I haven't tried this because I was scared it was it would be like a Red Bull, and I don't want to go down that channel. I heard it's
No, I don't think it was
addictive.
energy drink. I
Okay.
mean, I think maybe it's just bigger.
All right.
They feel better because it's like a real, like it feels like a proper tall boy or something, like a 16-ounce can.
Mhm.
Okay. Gotcha.
Versus a slender can.
Have
Yeah.
you started recording the audio yet? Because I have some questions.
All right, let's go
No.
get that going.
No.
Yes.
Okay. These are questions need to be on the record, I guess. Okay.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Let us roll.
Good evening, Endless Ranters. Welcome back for episode 199 of your Endless Ranters podcast. It's going to about to do that 99 times. We do what we want and we appreciate your support. My name is Chris. I am an online bullying survivor. I'm also a bee attack survivor. I'm a survivor of many things, is what I am. And I'm also one of your hosts for this evening. I'm joined by their other hosts. It's a soggy mom living in a crunchy mom's world. What's going on, Kwana? How you doing?
Keeping it soggy. Oh no, that
Nice.
sounds horrible. Just kidding.
Keeping it soggy. No, we got what you mean.
Yeah.
You
Mostly
still have full
just-
control of your bladder and all that.
For
You're
sure.
good.
Yeah.
We know what you mean.
Thanks.
It's more about having like low gas mileage, making sure you pollute a lot whenever you drive around.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yep. And then
Oh
there's
my
man with the
God.
plan. It's producer Manny. What's going down, old man?
Just taking a break from stealing black jobs, bro. Had to give him a break while I got hopped on the mic here for a bit.
Oh man, I don't even know what to say about that. That was something else. So Donald Trump. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I guess we'll talk about that. But Kwana, you said you had some questions. Was that just was that
No.
like
Well, it is. We're 20 minutes in. We got to get going. But I heard that there's a serial killer in your neck of the woods. Are you
no, there's
concerned?
not. No. What are you talking about? No, I never. What? I mean, what? What have you seen any links? Have any descriptions? Any?
Oh no. I just got what you were putting down.
Look, I'm busy. I've been busy in my backyard. I spend a lot of time alone. Normally,
Yeah, you got the fire
you know,
going
I
all the
don't.
time. Yeah.
Sometimes when I drive
Interesting.
around, I turn my phone off. I just have to turn my phone off, and you know.
Yeah, you
So
did just
what
go to
about
some
this?
weird lake. What you don't say, because there's a serial killer in your neck of the woods. So don't give
Oh
out
yeah, I went
any
to Possum.
descriptions.
I went out to Possum Kingdom Lake, which sounds, when you say it in a certain way, it sounds weird.
Yeah, it
Possum
sounds
Kingdom
like
Lake,
it does.
land of the possums. Like, I don't know, possums scare like weird looking. So
Yeah,
the last thing you want to see at night.
they are
But okay,
very
there's a
good for
serial
you
killer
though.
in my area for real.
San Antonio. I know that's not in your area,
Oh, it's pretty
right?
far.
Is it Austin
Now
or
I can
San
enjoy
Antonio?
this serial killer story. Now I can
Okay.
relax and really enjoy the
Okay.
serial killer
Okay.
information you're about to deliver.
Well, I mean, I know Texas is big, so I should have maybe researched that a little bit more, but it just seemed like, if it's right
It's
there
about
in
4 hours
Texas.
away, 4 or 5 hours away, something like that.
All right. I was just wondering if you had heard about it. So,
I haven't. No.
well,
He's a lot more distracted by what's going on Twitter more than anything.
yeah, Skippy.
Oh, that was on Facebook. Yeah.
Those girls
Oh.
are bullying him. Poor
The
thing.
interfems are bullying me. Yeah.
What'd
The
you do
interfems
now?
and their allies. What was that about?
Something about saying
I
thank
forget
you.
what that was about. I
Thank
I
you.
said
She was confused
I
by thank you, right?
oh yeah, I said something extremely logical, which
Sure
can be
you did.
problematic. I did. I think I did. Yeah. What did they? I forget. I forget now. Something about Something about men being terrible. It was something
That
about
checks out. Turns out that checks out.
well, most of them. I mean, not all of them all the time.
Yeah,
You know,
sure.
80%, 80% of
Yeah.
the time we're good. But I forget what that was about. I just said something that I thought was true. I made a joke. I think,
Yeah.
no, okay. Someone posted something. I made a joke that was the opposite of what they posted, which is something like to the effect of when you thank a woman and you thanked her wrong and you get in trouble, which every man knows what the hell I'm talking about.
Sure.
What this is like when you just issue a sincere thank you, but like I guess there's all kinds of stuff going on in the background that you've done wrong earlier that day, and that thank you was not well received, and actually saying thank you got you into more trouble than you were in the first place. Like and it wasn't appreciated. My joke wasn't appreciated.
Yeah.
Some lady called me Skippy.
That's a
But what
good
she
one.
said to me was nonsense, but she ended it with Skippy.
Yeah.
Like she was like, okay, Skippy, and then spouted some nonsense. But the Skippy part works because it worked for you because you were like, oh, Skippy. She called you Skippy. It's like,
She really did.
so it works. But I was nice to all of them. I laughed at all their replies. I reacted to everything they said to me,
Right.
I don't
every
think that
insult
they're
they hurled at me.
interpreting that as that you think it's
Support.
funny. I think they're
Oh,
interpreting that as he's being a dick.
oh, well, I mean, it could be both.
You should do the caring one, like,
Yeah,
hmm.
I do need to. Yeah. On my phone, I need to get that into like the most used emojis is the heart, like making the heart.
With your hands, the hand one.
I love it. I love it when they get they get like instantly personal with the attacks. Like your kids must hate you. Like whoa, like where'd that come from?
Only one of them.
Oh yeah, it's like not yet. They don't. They're not really old enough to hold those deep seated hatreds like like a proper
Yeah,
post pubescent teen. Like
sure.
pre-pubescent teens can be feisty, but after that they can really start holding some hatred towards you in their
Yeah.
heart.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh
That's
boy.
true. And ask my kids
Well,
that.
yeah, they get real personal with that. Like that happened. Yeah, that I find it fascinating, because I get sucked into it too. I start going at people and they start coming at
Yeah,
me, and I'm kind of and at some point I think both, like, I realize that I'm numb to it and so are they.
yeah.
So the attacks just kind of fizzle out because
I'm
it
surprised you
becomes
haven't
clear
been
that neither
kicked
of us
out
care.
yet, because usually they don't
Uh,
like an agitator,
well, you
a
know what I do?
male agitator.
Every time there's like a half reasonable meme that posted, I like it.
So stupid. Stop.
Are
You
you
think
just trying
that's
to
making
throw?
a dent on the community that's keeping you in good graces?
Or
Yeah, because I know the vindictiveness of some of these wenches, and yeah, they remember. Yeah. What are you kidding me?
Oh, like from the ones that are attacking you mostly, if they post
Yeah,
something
yeah.
reasonable, then you like it. Okay. Do you like
No,
laugh if
anybody,
it's
because some of
funny?
them, oh yeah, like either likes or laugh. Like some of them are actually pretty decent, because some of them are more like workplace bullshit. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
people. It's kind of like it's like a work memes. There's like a work memes group where everybody's just like, I guess everybody just hates their job and they just post shitty memes about their job all day and their boss, whatever. I think it's
Yeah.
funny. Some of them are funny because everybody's had that kind of job before.
right.
But um, so sometimes they're funny, but yeah, sometimes I mean, most of them are just, as I've said before, just devastatingly sad and scary as a father of girls that they may someday be on the internet just fucking posting the most depressing, negative stuff about life and the world. I mean, man. So
Yeah.
that's why I stay in that group
Yep.
Yeah.
and I don't want to get kicked out.
Keep your finger on the pulse.
Real
Yeah.
for real.
No, seriously, yeah.
Like it's
No,
something. It's something. I've told you guys before. I want people to be happy. So I am disturbed by, I mean, it's like the same as seeing those commercials where you see like starving Ethiopians and you're supposed to donate,
yeah.
whatever.
Or
And
sad
there's like,
puppies. Yeah.
slow music. Yeah. Sarah McLachlan songs. It's like the same thing when I go to that group. yeah, Sarah McLachlan's song starts playing, and I'm just looking at all these sad memes and depressed women, and it kind of bums me out. So I've kind of converted. I'm going to go from like like mocking to like mocking with a hint of helping,
Hey girl, you okay?
something like that.
I
Yeah,
like it. That's good. Good.
just a, I mean,
They're
I
lucky to
I'm gonna.
have you, Christopher. They're lucky to have you.
That's what I'm talking about. I was just trying to tell my son the same lesson about
I told
life.
you, add me to that group. I'll be like, oh yeah, he seems very reasonable. We'll take my word on it.
Start calling you out immediately.
I did tell Coop he should join.
Oh, sure. That's the support you want. He's gonna threaten to beat him.
Now he would find like I would tell him don't tell anybody you know me, but like there's gonna be so many chicks hate, wanting to hate F you, like
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
he'll be getting DMs from crazy women all the time. Like,
I think that's his type though. I think that might
yeah.
be his type.
I think he would there'd be a lot of attraction there.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway, probably not a good idea though.
Yeah. But
Well, then
me,
if,
yeah, put the friend request in. I need to see what you're doing over there. See how the
Okay.
ladies
Well, I
are.
think it's just a. Well, I also got to be
What
careful because
is it?
it's an open group. It's one of these groups that's just open. So I got to be careful because sometimes I'll like start saying stuff and then I'll realize like a couple hours later, like, oh
it's not
Your
private.
friends can see that.
yeah, anybody could see that.
Yeah. No, they show it to your friends.
Yeah. It's like
They
here's
show
Oh,
it.
okay.
Here's
here's
what your
what
friend's saying in his intersectional women's
right.
group.
Look at what
Well,
Skippy's been up to.
thanks a lot, friends, for zero fucking support. How about that?
It
How
probably
about
went to
that?
your
Thanks a lot.
mom or something. She's like, whoa.
Oh, there was one time,
It's like this isn't the
so
Skippy that I raised.
probably, but yeah, she knows I'm kind of a troublemaker like that. She knows I don't get along in the classic
Yeah,
sense with people.
Right.
sure. She's so
But
good.
one time you gotta watch out for your friends too, because like Britton Hart,
I
like that
do.
dude, he just puts all his
Oh,
shit out there. He puts all his shit out to the world, like, and you're just like and you're just shocked to be like, oh, he just put it out to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So then I'll respond with something, you know, and then this happened about 6 months ago. I'm not even joking. And then all of a sudden, yeah, he posted a picture of a cat or something, and I said something like, that cat's gonna eat that lady. And then next thing you know, my mom chimes in. She says, she's like, oh my goodness, or something like that. She's like,
I think
yeah, yeah. And I was like, oh. And then Britton chimes in, like, who are you? And then she said, I'm Chris's mom. And I don't know how it ended. I tried to block it out, but that happened. That happened. It made me nervous. I'll admit, like, I can handle some stuff, but that made me sweat a little bit. I was like, I don't know how this is going to go.
Not well.
Oh my
And
God.
from now on, when he posts stuff from now on, I'm just not going to say anything.
Yeah. No. Sometimes I'll get like a new friend request when I post on his stuff. His friends be like, hey, figure if you know Britain, you've got to be good people.
He's threatened to come on our show a couple times recently, so maybe he'll
Nice.
show up one day.
Welcome or
I
no,
think
he's welcome.
it would be nice to catch him on a Friday night,
Yeah.
deep
Oh,
deep into
yeah.
a good buzz. Yeah.
Giving away a basketball to a little black kid. Yeah. Be hot on the press.
That's right. He used to
Can't wait.
ball.
Used to. Oh, it's probably too
He
hot
still
right now.
does.
It's too
Oh,
hot.
I thought he blew out his knee or something like that, but I guess that was a while ago. Did
No,
something
he
about
goes out and shoots horse. That's how he finds the little kids to give his balls to.
that's a long, long, it's a long
Careful with
time
your
ago.
phrasing there.
He's,
It's a long time ago.
he's always talking about how he has to give
Are we
away the balls.
are we
Doesn't
talking
have to, but
about
he does. He's sweet.
are we
Like if
are
he
we
sees a
talking
kid
about
that needs
Mr.
a
Beast all of a sudden?
no.
He knew. Apparently,
Did
he
we
knew.
talk about that last week? Because apparently we talked about the opening ceremony last week. Like,
Yeah, we did.
so
No,
I
how
don't
but
think we
there's
talked about Mr. Beast last week. No, that's kind of a crazy story, but I don't know
we touched
how many people.
on it a bit, but there's also been some more developments saying that he knew or that he was complicit or more they knew allegedly. I don't want to get
Right.
lawyers coming after me that, but yeah, that he was allegedly aware of shit that was, shady shit going on, but he's fighting that. So
Yeah, I
there's a
don't
lot going on
know.
that front.
There's a lot going on all
I've
fronts, bro.
Oh yeah, you're not
I've
wrong.
I've paid attention. I've watched a couple. I think Mr. Beast was on like a long form interview with. There's some guy. Was a podcast named Lex Friedman or something like that.
Yeah,
Who's
that still
that?
Maybe
is.
somebody. But I don't know I don't know what happened there. I mean, I, I remember thinking like Mr. Beast. He does all these videos and they're very philanthropic and altruistic, and he's just giving away. Like he makes a lot of money. He
Hmm.
brings in a lot of money to his channel, and he gives a lot of money away. It
Right.
seems.
Right.
So I was like, man, I wonder like how does this come to an end? Like
Right.
does this guy just keep doing this thing bigger and better for the rest of his life? Or
We're finding out in real time.
and it's like, or is the same thing that's gonna happen to him, like that happens to anything that gets big and huge and like massively successful. It doesn't matter how positive you are,
Hmm.
eventually something's gonna get you. And I guess, he got by his friend and all that controversy. And then I guess there's Discord channel. My son was telling me that the moderator for their Discord channel is the one who leaked
The information.
screenshots
Yeah.
of, because I'm kind of trying to teach my son about like, online privacy, security, who you trust,
Don't
stuff
Right.
trust
like that. And
don't trust anybody.
I was like, this is a perfect story. This guy was a
Yeah.
lifelong friend of his that obviously has some issues. Brought a lot of heat on his channel.
Hmm.
Um, and then, and I was like, and then all of a sudden the heat's coming on Mr. Beast because of his comments and I guess Discord comments, maybe.
Right.
And I was trying to get on my son about like, this was like someone they hired to moderate their platform. And that person
Nice.
just screenshots their shit and puts it out there when it suits them. Like, man, just very,
Well, I mean,
I don't know. It's like,
if you're using all of it for like a good lesson for your kids, because there's so many things. Like, I cannot believe the monitoring that y'all must, not you, Manny, but like what you guys are going through. Like, I cannot imagine what it's like monitoring a child with a device. Like, granted, you could not give your children a device, and I don't think I would. You got to know where they're at. Put an air tag in their fucking shoe. The fuck are we
we
talking about?
have we have our son locked down pretty tight. He's got a watch that is a phone. No, he's got a watch that he can make it's cellular, so he's got a watch and that's it. So any
Okay.
image he sees on the watch is going to be a 1.25 inches or whatever. So,
Yeah.
but we control what numbers he can text and with.
He can text on his
Right.
watch.
Yeah, but we
Yeah.
control what numbers because he's on like a child whatever. So we
Are
can
you worried
control
about
that.
any of like the EMF or whatever, like
I
that
would be
stuff?
if he remembered to wear the expensive watch that I bought him, but most
That's
Good.
a
like
non-issue, apparently.
So he just
80% of the
uses
time it's
it.
dead.
Okay.
Well, 80% of the time it's dead and like
Well, he's got a scooter,
underneath
like
his
he's got
nightstand or
all
something.
kinds of like life stuff doing. So good for
Yeah,
him.
he's not in that point where he's like
Good.
strapping this magnet battery to his wrist every day, but
Yeah. I
and then
could
he's got an
feel it when I
iPad.
had one. I didn't like it.
Yeah, he's got an iPad that is also on a children's account, so we can control uh any numbers or text messages, whatever. But I mean, that is still like it's a minefield. I mean, I don't really. I'll be honest. Like my wife does an amazing job. She monitors that. She's got an old phone. We might
Shout
need
out to the
to delete this
wife.
part out. He might listen to this. So yeah, we
Yeah.
got like a cloned phone so she could see everything eventually. But they also like what these kids do. She told me yesterday one of the worst things that Apple did was do the unsend because now they can send each other messages and then unsend it a few seconds later and no one sees it.
Interesting.
right? So then you go and check the account,
It's
and
like
all you
they're
see is a
just
bunch of unsent
literally
messages.
protecting predators. Like that's the only.
Well, I gotta say, like, kids are damn smart, and man, that those biological urges are in the 1980s. The biological urge would teach a would like a kid would figure out how to pick a lock, to get out of a back door,
Sure.
Right.
Oh, we
and
used to
and
sneak out
and
like crazy when I was a kid.
right,
Like,
you would do that, right? Yeah.
oh my
So
goodness.
you may think you've got an alarm system, so that's problem solved today, but oh no, they're sneaking out because they've figured out that the school, the software that the school uses to monitor Gmail between students takes a few seconds to scan an image. So they figured out like a hack where they can send stuff and they'll be able to see it for a second, or it's very complex, but these kids are like insanely smart at probing the weaknesses in your defenses. Just like in the 50s, it would be, I can sneak out this window because it doesn't squeak, right?
Yeah.
And there's a
Yeah.
and there's a trellis, right?
Yeah.
And the trellis on this side of the house is solid, is not rotted, but the trellis over there will break.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's like this app, this game, this harmless little silly cartoon game that I can play with my friends has a messaging app that has features you can take advantage of. Man, these kids are just probing like yeah, like super soul like super soldiers, like probing defenses of the parents. So even that,
It's
even with that, it's really it is, you're right, it is really like
it's nuts.
it,
I
it is
know.
such a tough landscape. So you just have, you balance the monitoring with trying to instill values and lessons. Like, you need to be
Yeah.
real careful. Like,
Mhm.
you could get yourself in.
You should make them watch To Catch a Predator. You should make them watch Law and Order
Yeah.
SVU. Like there's so you should scared. I'm sorry,
Well, my
but
son is a guy, right? So he's kind of like, he's realizing
he's
that
a dude.
as
He's
a
got a mullet.
dude, he's not anymore. He's like, oh yeah,
Okay.
he's very
It was just
trying
a
to,
summer
yeah.
thing.
Okay.
But I think he's a dude, so he's starting to like figure out like some of the advantages and some of the disadvantages to being, a dude.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know. He did mention that we talk about a lot of stuff these days, a lot of heavy stuff. He did mention that like sometimes, like, and his friends are a diverse group, right? All colors, races, creeds, all that.
Sure.
But like sometimes, like he said that if like he'll just innocently say like, hey, that guy over, like, hey, what's that guy over there doing, like that, or like, or just like, do you anybody know that guy, like that guy's really good at a sport, and he'll describe him as the black guy.
Right.
Like some of his friends, kind of joking but not joking, will be like, oh, you said black guy, that's racist. And so it's kind of fucking terrible to think that even at like 12 years old in 2024, kids are really savvy to this stuff,
What's
Hmm.
even worse
and they
about that,
know, and they're
Christopher?
already like manipulate, and they're already kind of using it to manipulate, and certain kids are
How can that
feeling
be
like,
racist when we're
ooh.
saying white guys for Harris or
Yeah, it's
white
totally
women? Like, how can that be considered racist when we're definitely calling out
it's
color? We're definitely
totally yeah, it's
segregating
totally not.
people.
It is totally not. I mean,
That's
I
horrible.
think it's more comes down to what's the fastest way I can make my friends identify the guy I'm talking about. I think that's kind of what it
Mhm.
comes down to. So you don't say he's the guy wearing the black shorts because there's eight guys wearing black shorts. You say
Yeah.
you figure out the characteristic of the person you're trying to point out.
Yeah.
Um, and I can guarantee you now, it's not to point him out for some negative thing. It's probably like to point him up because like that guy's awesome at this or that, because it's just like this is a very
Right.
diverse community. This is a very diverse community where people of all colors and are just kicking ass. So it's
Yeah.
like
My
there's really
kids
not a
too.
lot of
Like
reasons around here to
my
feel
blonde
like
children were
that way.
the minority in their school. Like all communities are most urban, like suburban communities nowadays are very mixed cultured, which is
Yeah.
weird that we're thinking that everyone's so
It's the same as like
racist.
my son would be like the Indian kid or whatever, because it's like, he's trying to,
Yeah.
separate, Karthik out from Cade.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know. But yeah, but it's just kind of sad because yeah, that's well, I mean, when I think about it, it makes you fucking rip shit pissed because it's what have the grown-ups been doing for the last 40 damn years since I was kind of like being told the same shit and like we were, being, when you were a kid in the suburbs in the 1980s, you were just being told like, it's like racism's bad, people of all
Yeah.
colors, all that. It was just, it was just like a mantra. And like, everybody mostly accepted it as far as
Yeah.
like I did.
Sure.
Um, but it's just crazy that like they're kind of having to tell the kids the same goddamn things 40 years later. It's crazy. It's
When the
crazy.
kids aren't feeling that. And yeah.
Well, we're like making sure they do. Like we've made sure to keep things just dysfunctional enough to like keep people at it. Even though the kids are just like, hey, like all our parents live in the same freaking house. All their houses look the same.
Yeah.
Our parents all drive the same car. We go to the same school. We all wear the same clothes.
Yeah.
But it's like, man, Hollywood, and I blame it on like really mainstream media, Hollywood, popular culture that really drives home the divisions.
Sure.
They
Yeah.
really drive home because it's not
That's the
profitable if
goal of
not.
everything. And though everything is division, it's left versus right. It's racist, not racist. It's all of every single thing that we fight about is division. Like, I think if everybody were, they're scared of us being united because if we were united, we would see that that's what we should be focused on. Like, we're fighting each other, and that's the
But it's
object.
really, it's really, and many
Mhm.
people have said this recently, but really, it's not color, class. It's really socioeconomic.
Hmm.
And that's what
Sure.
I believe too, because it's like I've noticed that in my neighborhood with all these different people that look all different, but all their stuff looks the same,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So it's they all get along
Right.
because it's like we have a lot in common, which is just like, is your cable down? Yeah, my cable's down. Like we're all like
It's like, what the fuck, bro?
in it together, like is your internet down? Yeah, AT&T blows, like, but it's like in other neighborhoods, it's this it's the same thing too, like in poor neighborhoods, but the racism stuff and the divisions really works a lot better.
My kids, as I mean, I have a 28 and a 27-year-old children. So they've had some beater cars over the years. And I used to tell them, like, the cops are pulling over poor people. It's not necessarily black kids that are being pulled out into the streets. It's poor people. And your car, you
Screams
are poor
poor.
people. You are a poor person. So,
Yeah.
and my son's been pulled over
Mhm.
tons of times, so many times. And be respectful, keep your hands on, like, yeah, it's poor. It's, yeah. I don't know that they necessarily are dealing with the color, but
Thanks for
is,
reminding me. I gotta go wash my car after this,
yeah.
so it
Make
doesn't
sure
look
your
too beat
registration's
up.
a, yeah,
That
true.
pisses me off though. Like that's a lot of where my political leanings and things come from because I'm good. Like I'm fine. Like I'm 52. I'm good
Hmm.
here. Like things could really fall apart. I'll go out in the woods and I'll be fine. You know,
Sure.
I'm
You go
good.
kick it
I'll
with the
bring my
Bears.
You can build a
yeah,
fire,
bring my backpack and we're
fish.
good. We're good. And but I've got kids, so I'm just like worried about, the world they're gonna be living in. And I don't know. Things are just going the wrong direction.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard having grown ones that are like starting to feel the pinches of like costs of living, just basic costs of living. It's hard
Yeah,
to
that
like,
like I am concerned, like, because the world is way different for like my parents' freedom as parents back in the 70s was like, if it was a 10, then my freedom as a parent is, maybe at an 8 or 7. I'm like, well, if that trend continues, then, and when I say that freedom as a parent, it's like, the bullshit that schools do that you can't really do much about without, losing your job, your livelihood, and like dedicating your entire life to
Yeah.
like fighting the school council. Like, yeah, you don't really, and the things they do that go against just basic common sense of community. But yeah, anyway, but I was trying to say, like, we have the same issues. Like their kids are worried about racism 40 years later. They're worried about World War III 40 years later. Like I was 12 and my son was asking me, like I was 12 and I was worried about World War III. And my son's 12 and he's asking me about, is World War III going to happen? And if World War III happens, he was asking me, does Texas get bombed?
Oh, I'm so sorry. That's so
Yeah, no,
sad.
it's
I'm
like,
so
and it's like
sorry.
kind of like, I'd like to joke about stuff. So, I
No,
obviously had
that's
shirt and
super
we were
sad.
fine, but it's like, yeah,
Fuck that.
there's a part of me that's like, I like to hurt somebody over this because
Yeah.
damn, it's been 40 years and you people are used, and myself included,
Yeah.
because it's like, obviously we're all voters. We're all a part of this, but man, people realize that like
Yeah.
kids at 12 are worried about the same thing that were 12, 40 years ago.
For sure. For
Were worried,
sure.
and with the same countries
Yeah.
with Russia.
I know. They used to put us
So what
under
I
the
told them,
desks. Are they putting them under the desks now, or they're just like, you're fucked if it
nah,
happens?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's more like,
I'm so
I don't
sorry.
know.
That's so sad. That's
Yeah,
horrible.
it's really terrible.
Horrible.
But I told him that I think that I was like, we have to consider that World War III has already started.
Yeah.
That kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Like it sounds like
Sure.
like, oh, what is it? Some kind of bombastic thing to say or some like
Absolutely
controversial,
not.
somebody's trying to start shit on the internet, but it's like, man, there's like a lot of conflict and they all are actually kind of closely tied together.
Yeah. I mean,
Mhm.
let's not
Um,
forget that last weekend they were trying to like China and Russia were doing shit in Alaska. Like what? So
what
weird.
China and Russia were, yeah, flying
Yeah.
near. They were in international waters, but way
No,
closer
they
than
did
usual. It's like,
something though too, right? Didn't they like try and do something that we shot down or
well,
there's a lot of stuff.
what was it? The weather balloon, the spy balloons, whatever it
I
was.
think it
Yeah.
was a little bit more, yeah. And obviously it's not on the news and no one's talking about it, but there's stuff going on. It's just weird. It's a weird time to be alive. And you're right. Maybe it's easy to consider that there is stuff happening that we're not being told about because we're talking about things that don't matter. We're being
Well,
divided.
I mean, this is literally happening in our country today. It's August
Mm,
2nd, 2024. People are talking about asking the question, is World War III going to start? When will it start?
yeah,
Right. But on the very same day, other people are celebrating that Ukraine finally got those American F-16s and American fighter jets because I guess for like the last couple of years, the Biden administration has been saying no, like
yeah.
we're not going to do that because then that really means we're really, if you start flying American airplanes against Russians, like that would kind of mean something.
They've been doing,
And
yeah,
then today they're just like, hooray, the American F-16s have arrived in Ukraine to be used against the Russians. And everybody, like,
I
everybody
can
that's not
remember
a
at one point when
retard.
I was like kind of screaming, like, it's our stuff doing that. And they're like, no, if it was our stuff doing it, that would cause a third world war. And it's like, and no,
Yeah,
but it
no,
is
everybody.
literally our stuff doing it. And
Yeah, I mean,
oh,
honestly, like we're about to see it with the election stuff. I mean, half America, and not the same half, and this half fluctuates, but half America is just insanely incompetent, and it's like retarded. Like we get tricked by the easiest things. Like
they're so excited that
people
Meg
think
the
that
Stein shaking
people
her coochie at a rally. It's
no,
weird.
but people like do real people really when you see a news article that says F-16s have arrived, do they really think that we just drop these things off in crates with the instruction DVD, like a
Hell
manual or
yeah.
something like that? They really do think that. They really do think that we give them all these guided missiles, but like there's not American troops on the
Yeah.
ground in the
Yeah.
room with these Ukrainian military people, like showing them how to use our stuff and training their pilots on how to fly our F-16s and use all our cool missiles. And it's like Russia knows they're in it. I think maybe the Russian people, I don't know, but the way Russia must know that they're in like a global conflict. Because then you hear stories about how, um, man, I wish I had a better memory because I could detail it, but like Russians are in Syria and we're in Syria. And there's kind of like another proxy war, USA versus Russia going on where, well, it's proxy on our side because we're using Syrian rebels,
Hmm.
but there's actual Russians in Syria
Yeah.
supporting Assad or whatever. And we're not fighting the Russians in Syria, but we're giving weapons to all these, rebels and things in Syria that are fighting Russians. And it's like the Russians are just like, wow, the Americans are kind of, like,
I was
are,
asking because
are
they bombed
it's
Yemen
crazy.
this a couple days ago, and then that dude got
Again, I didn't hear
released.
that. I didn't
Yeah,
hear
and then
that.
that dude got released from prison that's been like in some prison somewhere for like a long time when Trump was in prison. Remember, they asked Biden, like he said, well, Trump should have done it when he was the president. But it like happened less than 48 after hours after that bombing. So my question is like, was that like the payment to get that dude released? Was that we bombed? Was that like I don't
The
know. Like
transaction, the deal.
it was at the deal. Like it just seems like there's all kinds of stuff that's going on
Um,
that and we're too busy. We're just everyone's distracted by all the things that are happening, the Olympics and just like Kamala and all the stuff. It's like
I
Not
don't
just
there's
think that
real
was
Kamala.
things
connected.
happening.
It might be. I mean, yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I'm saying about like a World War III, where it's just like there's so much crazy stuff happening everywhere that it might appear random, but a lot of those things are actually connected. And I mean, not to paint us in a terrible light, I'm sure the Russians invaded Ukraine, and they're in Syria for some reason, and they're against us
Right.
there. And I'm sure they're doing their little troll farms, and they are
Mhm.
pushing our buttons everywhere they can, anywhere in the world. They're flying missions with China, into Alaskan airspace or near Alaskan airspace, and
Mhm.
trying to rattle our cage a little bit. So I mean, it's like, but it does seem like they're a little bit more aware that they're in this thing than we are, because we're just
Yeah.
like, because
So
we're just like real concerned.
distracted.
We're just real concerned about like Olympic, like boxing. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
I think,
opening ceremonies
but
and nut sacks and on tables and all the things. Like everyone's so distracted by stuff that's not
I should say though,
bombings.
like, you know, I don't know, like if you went to the Russian population, they might be almost just as checked out as we are. Because they're all humans. They got their personal lives and they got smartphones too, and they got,
I was
whatever.
watching
And
90 Day Fiance and there's a Russian person on that show and they went back
yeah.
there and yeah, they do seem like they're equally as checked out. Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, and I think that's kind of like, um, I was trying to explain this to my son. Like even during World War II, it's not like we weren't flying bombers over every area of Germany and Japan nonstop 24/7, 365 for
That's why when they
years.
show the Ukraine and they're like in their discotheques and
Yeah,
everybody's
yeah,
just
yeah,
eating
yeah.
outside on Sunday having brunch, it's probably just perfectly normal that
There were large
that's
parts of like,
happening there.
I mean, I would guess I mean, you got to basically say all of America was missing a lot of people, missing a
Right.
Yeah.
lot of sons and dads and all that, and nephew, all that. But generally, like not really worried about a German bomb dropping on them as they went to the shop that, on Sunday morning or like in church or whatever. They weren't
Yeah.
really, there was like that's a weird thing to think about, I think.
Well, yeah.
And just like I mean, I was in college when the first Iraq War, and I forget the name now. Desert Storm
The
Yeah.
Gulf
was like
War, the
Norman
first Gulf War.
Schwarzkopf, Norman
Yeah.
Schwarzkopf, like that one. Like I was a freshman in college at that time, so it's like we were, smoking pot and getting drunk and watching. Like we had like rigged cable to our dorm room, like we'd spliced cable to our dorm room up like the side of a building.
You filthy
So we were not
communist.
we were not worried about like being bombed or anything like that. We were just like, wow, look at this. This is incredible.
Oh
Hmm.
my God.
Like
My
24
daughter was
hour
in
cable news.
kindergarten
Like,
and I literally just I didn't even want to send her to school. Like what a different vibe, right? Like I was so scared that like it was gonna be
Oh,
more
okay. Yeah. I mean,
because I already had
for,
children in the game or whatever, maybe.
yeah,
Yeah.
I guess it would creep into people's mind, but as we know, like it didn't happen. Like there weren't any
Yeah,
Iraqi
fear has been
bombers or
the
anything like that. Like,
campaign. So that is I mean, like Ace always talks about, like, he is fine with saying that this isn't going to happen because he grew up hearing about you know, we were going to freeze and then we were going to global warm and all the things, like all of the things that they've been telling us. It's like the campaign is fear and that's what's for sale. It's fear. So as long as you're scared, you know, you're a good
well,
American.
they made a generation or two where it's just like you scared us so much when we were kids. Now we just hate you so much.
Don't even care. Like, okay,
No, I do
great.
care. I do
Drop
care.
it.
Like
Yeah, you do.
all of me, I just want to be as subversive as possible against you son of bitches that keep doing this, like keep causing all these problems.
Right.
Hmm.
Like, I can't wait till I'm older and my kids are set
You
and
have
they
a
don't need to worry
porch.
about me anymore. And I can just
Yeah.
do whatever the fuck I want to do and say whatever I want to say to anybody. I mean, because y'all better watch out. There's a whole generation of people that are feeling that way.
Yeah. He's
Hmm.
gonna have his intersectional women's group rage
Oh
coursing
yeah.
through his veins by
Like
that point.
you can't cancel me anymore. I
Been
mean,
canceled, bitches.
you're gonna have a country full of coops that are just like, I'm
Oh,
good.
no.
Like you can't really touch me anymore. Like I'm good. I got my retirement coming in and it's really uncancelable. Like I'm not trying to get laid anymore. So you're not going to hurt me that way. You know what I mean? Like my kids are all good.
You're still not
They can
speaking for
afford
cute though,
lawyers.
right?
Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like that we're just like, I'm not really worried about my supervisor finding out about my tweets anymore. You know,
Right, right,
like,
right, right. Oh yeah, you should be careful of that.
not really worried.
Oh
Hmm.
yeah.
Like because people can get vindictive against me all they want, but what are they going to do? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, you be, yeah.
That's why you're not
Anyway,
promoting your podcast on your super successful Twitter page, right?
yeah, you want to be careful there. I mean, there's some fucking nut jobs. Like, there's some. I don't know if I shared some stuff with you guys. Like, there's a group of people on Twitter where if you come at them, like the next thing you know, they're posting like satellite pictures of your house.
Nice.
Gotta
Yeah,
love them.
because there's people out there that get on Twitter and start like attacking people, and they don't realize that the people on the other end of those accounts were like former crazy military people that
Yeah.
like don't get that again. They got a pension coming in. No one can touch it.
Hmm.
I
They're
gotta,
living
I
in the
gotta,
country somewhere.
I
They're
gotta
armed to the
puppy out.
teeth.
1 second.
All
All
right.
right.
They're armed to the, and they're just like, they know how to like dox people.
Hmm.
And I guess the people go online and start attacking everyone and they don't realize like they use their real address. They use their like work email.
Like,
People
what
are
are you
so
doing,
stupid.
bro?
Or they'll post pictures of themselves and like in town at the restaurant. It's like, dude, like people can just do a reverse Google search, get image
Exactly.
search now, and they know exactly where you are. Like
I was telling Manny about a girl on TikTok who can find anybody, and she's like, "Oh, one of your posts, you had a package on your counter, and I zoomed in and saw your zip code and bought." Like, it's just wild. It's so
sometimes I
wild.
see these things go down, and I'm actually kind of scared. Like I'm like, man, like people should be more careful. But man, there are some right wing nut jobs out there that have good hearts, but man, they don't mess around. Like they don't mess around, and they kind of lived a life to where they were just like just always wanted to know how to do all these things, and
Hmm.
yeah, it's wild. So Donald Trump,
Oh
Kamala
God.
Harris,
Those two polarizing figures.
Let's go,
it's
Whatever.
gonna be
Brandon.
it's gonna be so. Oh man, things are gonna get so crazy the next few months. What is it? We're like 100 days away, less than 100 days
9,
away
yeah,
now.
less than.
Yeah, I don't really. I'm not. I'm not real happy about it because yeah, obviously they got rid of Dementia Joe and put in
Dementia.
Kamala. And yeah, it was like real sketchy, real pretty sketchy that they didn't have any kind of primary. They just kind of like put her in there. And
Some are calling it a coup.
I mean, it's the way our system works. And it is weird to think about if the Democrats had a primary, she would have been nowhere close to the nomination.
Right.
Like nowhere. Like a few weeks ago, just a few weeks ago, not even 2 weeks ago, Democrats on TV, all the liberal pundits were basically saying there's a Kamala Harris problem. And the reason why we can't get rid of Joe is because Kamala Harris would be the nominee. And then they got rid of Joe and they're just like, Kamala Harris is the greatest thing ever. And it's like,
And they were saying
that's
he was
really,
too old or he was perfectly of age appropriateness. And now
yeah,
Donald
yeah,
Trump
yeah.
is too old. Like, it's so funny.
Well, I mean, I really, so I'm kind of shifting in my mode to where
You're voting for
I've always
Kamala.
thought, no, I've always thought like, like our society's going to crumble upon its own weight of, self-indulgence, narcissism, stupidity, superficialness. Like our society's going to crumble. I just thought it would take longer.
Sure.
So it's like
Not in like
when I see
No.
one.
Kamala, when I see Kamala surging, I'm just like, oh, it's going to happen sooner.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I thought we might get Trump for 4 years. I still think we will personally, but like we get Trump for 4 more years, like we kind of slow down the rot. It's
Yeah.
like, oh no, looks like we're going full steam ahead. And like good news is if you got a college loan and Kamala wins like in that 4 years, like do you
It's
I
realize
heard
if
okay.
she
that
wins, like how much stuff's gonna be forgiven? Like
I
you're gonna be
heard
like,
that Trump was supposed to absorb
oh
like
man.
this, like if we're going into like a depression, that it was supposed to be laid in Trump's lap, like, oh,
Here you go.
look at what he's done to our society. We're in a depression, like not talking about all of this past fucking 4 years. And that if it does land in her lap, like the question is,
Will she get
who
blamed
would
for
you
it?
rather fucking leading you through these like a depression? Would you rather it be
Coconut Kamala.
Oh,
Coke?
if Kamala Harris wins, there won't be a depression according to the news reports. Like
Wait, is she
you'll
gonna
be
shame us
you'll
all?
be
Is that
eating
what you're saying?
oh, people will be eating dogs in the streets of Philadelphia, and they'll be like,
Oh,
"What are you talking about? People love
Yeah.
dog. People have
It's
always
so
eaten
much
dog. It's a
gaslighting.
cultural, yeah. I mean, so, but
It's
I
so much
actually have thought
gaslighting.
that I've thought that for a long time, like maybe six months or so, because like there's a lot of like, well, not today, but the stock market's been doing great. So a lot of people so in years past when the stock market was doing great, but everybody else, like regular people were complaining, it would be the Republicans saying, what are you complaining about? The stock market is killing it. What are you ridiculous? Like my 401k is doing great, but now it's like flipped.
Yeah.
You
McDonald's
got
did
like,
something today that people are talking about. Like that is like a touch of like what's happening, not just in our country, but globally, because McDonald's is a global brand.
oh,
And for
people not
them,
buying McDonald's as much. They're like, hey,
because
what's going on here?
they can't afford it. Like there's like
Mhm.
that's I'm not
I've been thinking
paying
about that. I think
$17 for a Big Mac meal.
that may be more of like well, it could be a McDonald's thing because McDonald's is number one. I mean, they were number one. So it's like everybody in the damn world was coming after you, McDonald's. So it's like, I don't envy
Right.
that job, but it also could be that, yeah, fast food has gotten expensive and people, if,
Realize they can make a
if,
McMuffin at home.
well, yeah, I
Make
mean,
easy.
well, there's a couple things I think that, yeah, like all it takes is a few percentage points. So if on an average Tuesday night, like 80% of Americans were just like, I feel like fast food tonight. And now, a couple years later, on an average Tuesday night, only 50% of Americans are thinking, yeah, fast food sounds like a good idea because that 30% shift is just like, has already changed. We've already started buying more frozen pizzas at the grocery store. We've already started getting more like whatever, like ready made
McMuffins in the
lasagnas and
freezer.
pastas and that kind of stuff. Yeah, like that kind of stuff that we would normally stop at McDonald's. We're just going to buy a 6 pack of frozen McMuffins from Kroger. So, so it could be part of that too, where there's just a big shift where there's been so many memes and TikToks and videos of generate of millennials or whoever are saying they can't afford stuff that's like, if you're McDonald's, you got to be like,
Like, what are we doing here?
all this negative stuff about, everyday things costing more is gonna hit us.
It's not good
Even
for
if they make their
business.
even if McDonald's made their menu cheaper, all the negative stuff about how everything like, oh, I went to McDonald's and it cost me $20. Like
It's
all that
crazy.
negative stuff's gonna like in my area, the
Their ice
McDonald's
cream
really
machine's
hasn't.
always down.
Oh, that too, yeah. In my area, McDonald's like because I see people posting like I went to McDonald's, it was $20 for one person. And I'm just like, I don't know what you're talking about. I can go to
Oh,
Sonic for like $11.
but
So
not
I think
like,
it's different. It is different in certain areas. It is different in some areas. So
yeah. I've been off McDonald's for probably at least 10 years, maybe more,
well, I mean,
since I had
McDonald's
a
also has a I mean, if you think about it, like McDonald's was the go-to when I was a kid, but now
yeah.
between every two McDonald's in town, there's like
Please let it be a
seven chicken
Chick-fil-A.
fingers. There's like a Chick-fil-A. There's like 18 different chicken fingers
Yeah,
restaurants. There's like a Chipotle and then like four knockoff Chipotles. And
sure.
so if you're McDonald's, I don't know. I don't know. But then again, there's a lot of McDonald's. So if out of
Mhm.
like 10,000 McDonald's, people are just buying 20% less, that's something. That's something
Yeah.
to, yeah,
Globally is what they're saying. It's not just a US problem, that it's a global problem, and that's where the problem
yeah.
comes into play. So
I think
I
too,
don't know.
like I live in a nice area and a lot of restaurants open and they're nice and people post nice things about them, but they just don't last because people don't go. And I think the reason is because everybody's got like a nice smoker and a Blackstone griddle on their patio. It's like
Yeah.
I don't need to go drop $80 at a local restaurant when I
You
can
know,
have like when I can cook burgers for my burgers and hot dogs on my griddle
Ace is
and
always talking about PF Chang's, and I've
Are they
enjoyed,
also having trouble?
yeah, I've enjoyed PF Chang's too. I agree with him. It's delicious Chinese that is like it's the same flavor, which I think that you appreciate like in a restaurant like Ace has that. Like you want it to taste the same every single time.
Right.
And
But
not only are the prices so crazy, like you cannot broccoli beef was $26. It's just the prices are so outrageous, and the flavors were it we both said it was fine, but it
uh-huh.
didn't taste like PF Chang's. Like PF Chang's had its own flavor. Like those lettuce wraps, you know what they taste like, and they come with iceberg lettuce. Now they're serving it with romaine lettuce, and the sauce is different, and the texture of the meat's different. Like every single thing about it was different. And maybe it's
mm,
just in California, I don't know, but everything that I eat out from like a chain, like a California Pizza Kitchen or a PF Chang's or those types of restaurants,
Right.
they are not the same. Like, I don't know, it's different. Like, it's so different. It's so
They're not using quality ingredients. Is that what you mean?
no, Manny, if you go to PF Chang's, you know what those lettuce cups taste like. You can
Mm,
taste the little cashew in it, or not cashew, but like the water chestnuts. Like you
right.
can taste all of the different flavors. The fried rice usually has green onions in it. They had whole white onion in it. Like and the prices are
mm,
so much more. Like it's
yeah.
marked like more, way more. It's just,
Yeah,
I don't know how people are
there's a
doing
team
it.
at headquarters. There's a team at headquarters of that whatever I don't know Brinker. I'm not sure if it's Brinker that owns PF Chang and Chili's and all like because like so many of the chain restaurants that you see in like a strip mall are just owned by the same company.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I
but
don't know if it's like
Chili's and
a
those ones are closing, and I feel like PF Chang's Ace isn't gonna have anywhere to go because they're gonna close. They're not going to stay in business with that type of it needs to taste like PF Chang's if it's gonna be PF Chang's. You know what I mean? Like Taco Bell
Gotcha.
tastes
yeah,
like
I'm
Taco
okay with
Bell.
it,
McDonald's
and I
tastes
think
like
it's
McDonald's.
okay. It's hard to distinguish between like what's happening because of like just I don't know overall bad themes or just like this is kind of what should happen because PF Chang's becomes dominant they become the big restaurant in every kind of shopping center where everybody wants to
Right.
go.
Right.
And then things happen, and then all of a sudden there's a bunch of accountants and chefs at PF Chang's headquarters that are just like, well, we can sub out spring onions that are, $3 a
Delicious.
pound for just, like diced up white onions that are
That we're
like,
using
50 cents
already
a
to do
pound.
something else. We just
Yeah,
throw
that
in
it's
that.
just like, and it's like super efficient, and uh
Disgusting.
we don't have to
I'll never
hire
be
skilled
back.
labor. And
Yeah.
yeah. But so I mean, but a part of that is like that just kind of happens naturally,
Mhm.
and that's the challenge, I guess. That
I mean, I'm 51 years old. I feel like it hasn't happened naturally. I've been eating at PF Chang's for like, at least 20 years.
well, not PF Chang's, but like other industries where they're
Sure.
dominant, and then
Yeah.
they start cutting corners, and
Hmm.
they're dominant. So when you're dominant, you're just not as sharp.
Yeah, you're
You're
right.
not as sharp, and then you're not as sharp because you're not as sharp. You start losing customers because you just think, well, we have the biggest restaurant with the brightest lighting in this shopping center, so
Yeah.
like we're gonna rule. But then it's like all
Yeah.
these other places open up that have better service, and then like if you're a small mom and pop, you're just like, we better have better service. But if you're a PF Chang's, you're just like, let's swap out the garlic for, like garlic powder. And it's
Horrible.
like,
The
sounds
sausage, usually
good.
the sauces are
Yeah.
so good. Every one of the sauces it was like off. It would just,
I
it
haven't
was
had that experience
so
at PF Chang's. We haven't
weird.
been there in a while. We used to go to this, I think it was called Abuelas. There's a
Abuelas.
Mexican Abuelas. I'm trying to remember if it was Abuelos or Abuelas. If it was is that grandfather, or is that aunt, uncle?
Grandfather, abuelo, grandmother,
Yeah.
abuela.
I'm not sure if it was Abuelos or Abuelas, but I think most of those closed down because when Laura and I were dating, we used to go there all the time. I would get a
Mhm.
shredded beef enchiladas. And then one time we went there, this is a long time. We went there, and I got the shredded beef and I ordered the beef enchiladas, and the waiter was like, I got to tell you that it's not shredded beef anymore. It's ground beef. And it was like fucking manwich. It was like a goddamn sloppy Joe and an enchilada. We were like,
Oh,
okay.
Right,
And then we just
right.
never went back. Never went back ever again.
yeah.
Like,
I will never order PF Chang's again, ever. I'm
we'll
good.
just never, okay, we'll just never come back. And I guess
Yeah.
there's few of them that are still open that serve, like ground beef, enchiladas or whatever. But um,
Yeah. The corners
yeah, we just never
sometimes
went back.
cut just aren't, they just don't
And I think the
fit.
waiter even said, like, yeah, they just are like a huge bucket. It's like a
Yeah.
huge bucket of ground beef that shows up
Awesome. That's just the greatest mental image
versus,
of
like
a customer
shredded beef
needs.
that is just
Yeah.
like, obviously
Yeah.
so much better. So yeah, Kamala and Trump, that's gonna be a tight race. It's gonna be tight. I don't even know what to say. I think we like a lot of dust needs to settle,
Sure.
right? With the Kamala VP pick, and
Well, we're gonna have a race war. I feel like we gotta get that out of
Whoa,
the
whoa, whoa.
way.
Slow down there, Charles Manson. Let's not.
shit's gonna get real weird on that front, man. I tell you,
Yeah,
like
it's
shit's
so
gonna get
weird.
real weird, and maybe it shouldn't. Maybe people are making a lot of bad assumptions, but it sure does seem like a lot of folks are just extreme. All of a sudden, in the last few weeks, have turned extremely superficial.
In like the last 6 days, it has gone from like a
Yeah,
normal pulse
maybe like a
to
week.
you
Yeah.
racist. Like because they're trying to cover up the Trump assassination, which is also on our list to talk about. But like
I don't think anyone's trying.
he was
Oh, yeah.
almost assassinated 2 weeks ago and it's gone. Like no one's talking about it. It's over. Like we're talking about
Was it?
race. We're talking about Kamala. Like it's just like it's gone. It's
I
gone
see
that
what
that
you're saying.
happened.
I see what you're saying there on that end, like from them giving to us receiving that kind of thing. But like on the other side, like there's a weird. Was it Ben Shapiro that was like who called it the yassification girl of Kamala Harris? Who said that? Like
I don't know, but those white
Everyone's been
called it
women
saying
like the
as
that.
yes
well.
girl. Like, yeah, there's like a weird thing where like the same people that were like this lady's a liability a couple weeks ago, or like,
No,
she's my queen. She's
I
a
think it's
queen.
the people that were not paying attention, and then they got a new shiny object. They're like, "Oh, it's a girl, and she's gonna
Mm.
represent a president." Like,
Yeah,
she's
that may be
Elle
a good point.
Woods. For the people that aren't paying attention, she's fucking Elle Woods. Like, she's brown Elle Woods, which is even better than white Elle
Who's
Woods.
that?
Legally Blonde.
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah.
what you know what? Yeah, what
Oh, you knew
Reese
that? It's from
Witherspoon
your,
popped.
yeah.
No, it did, like her face popped into my head and I was like,
Yeah.
that's Elle Woods, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's brown Elle
Ah, that's a
Woods.
really good that's good.
Thank you.
That's good because she could have been like she could have that character in that movie could have said and probably did a bunch of
They are
terrible
the
things. But it's
same.
just like, yeah, you go. You deserve
Go,
to be a
girl.
monster.
Yeah.
You Yeah,
You
that guy
go,
was bad to you.
girl.
So yeah, he
Yeah.
treated you wrong. So you can be a
Mhm.
sociopath for a few weeks. Like, what? No, I don't
So
think so. I don't think
crazy.
that's how it works. But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, there's something I'm going to say superficial because yeah, people are really looking at this at a very superficial, skin deep level.
I'm going to keep saying, I'm going to
And I
say it one more time
think
here. Where are the 80,000 plus missing migrant children that went to sponsors? That is
Mhm.
100%. Donald Trump had the kids in cages. You've already said it. Everyone has said it. The kids were in fucking cages. We could see them. We could see them in cages with the
You can
little
ask them.
silver blankets. And now they're missing in some weird sponsor's basement. Where are they?
You can ask all the white dudes for Harris. You can ask all the white women for Harris. You can
Yeah.
ask all the Latinos for Harris and the lesbians for Harris, and they will
Yeah.
ignore your question. They will 1,000,000% just ignore you and be like, they're not gonna have the dignity, the respect to call you a crazy bee. They're just gonna ignore
Yeah.
you. They'll just ignore that question.
You
Like
racist
they just ignore it. Like, don't
whitey,
even know
even though
what you're
I'm
saying. Like
brown as hell.
they'll just ignore that whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, America is so fooled by the image, and maybe like it's not just my half of the country saying that. The other half was saying that when Trump won, like, oh, y'all got tricked. Like you're in a cult, you got tricked. Blah, blah, blah. But
Yeah.
you're
When they
all, but
showed Trump
it's
in
like,
that like superhero uniform, everybody said he was in a cult. And now like Kamala's in the superhero
Captain
uniform. They're like,
America.
oh my
Yeah,
God. They're like, oh,
yeah, like
that's so
Everyone's in
yes,
the
yeah,
much
the
cult.
yes queen.
worse.
Everyone's in the
They say
cult.
yes queen.
That's the thing.
Yes
Yes,
queen.
queen.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
real. So I'm kind of, but I'm an optimist, as you know,
I've
as
heard.
well as a victim. Yeah, I'm a survivor, not a victim. I'm sorry I said that. I just microaggressed
Survivor.
myself by calling
Yeah.
myself a victim, but
That's an
I'm a
affront to
survivor.
actual victims.
Yeah.
There is a V in the word survivor. If you ever wanted to play crossword or
Sure.
Scrabble, you could start the word victim with survivor, but you don't. You never do. I got
No.
platitudes. I got all kinds of platitudes I got to work out on this one, but
Nice. Yeah.
I don't even know what I was talking about now. But
V's.
what?
Capital V's.
Oh, I'm not.
Victim.
Yeah, I'm a survivor.
Amen. Oh, with your
Sorry.
USA shirt on, we just saw.
I really did forget what I was talking about. It happens.
Because it's Friday.
It is Friday. But yeah, I think it's very superficial. Like I'm an optimist, so I like to think that once the dust settles, once like the elect when it's like this is the two against these two, and the first like wave of attacks comes out, and then we're really into the election, like the final like 60 days or whatever. I want to see. I'm not sure how it's going to work out. I'm really not sure. I'm very worried that America will get tricked by the image and like feel good.
Sure.
Like
I mean, you got
we get
Meg
tricked
the
by feel good
Stallion,
stuff.
out.
Like feel good, like just be yourself, be like be a prude or be a hoe. Just like wherever you like, probably you should probably lean towards hoe, but like be a prude, be a hoe, whatever you want to be. Just let your freak flat, like do whatever you
Yeah,
want
trad wife,
because
whatever you
this is
do,
a
do not make bread for your husband. Whatever you do, do not ever make a sandwich. Disgusting trad wife.
But America has reached the point where it's like that campaign,
Yeah.
I'm not sure about their policies, but that campaign laid down a pretty good beat. And that night,
Savage.
and I was like,
Savage.
I was
Trashy,
like, and
bougie,
it's like,
ratchet, or whatever it said.
I just remember feeling real good, like I
Yeah.
remember feeling like good vibes because I was like shaking my hips and like,
Yeah. Sometimes my
just like,
husband works out in the garage and he uses like just like our shared Amazon whatever, and like some of the playlists have like some ratchet music in there, and I'll hear that Meg the Stallion song playing. It's like classy, bougie, ratchet. Like he's
I don't think I've
out
even
there
heard it
questioning
before.
it.
I think the most I've seen of it was at Kamala Harris's rally, but it's like,
Yeah. Like, oh
I,
no,
I,
that's definitely not his song.
I think I said something like, till 12 years ago,
Right.
that ends your campaign, right? Like
Yeah.
donors are just like, we want our
No.
money back.
No, they
No.
And we
wanted
were
their
going
money
to,
back with Joe Biden. Now they're like, okay, yeah, we could put it
and
here.
then now it's just like, I'm not sure. I was like, does that get votes or does that kind of like, it,
This may
yeah,
sound bad,
Americans
and
can be
I'm
tricked,
glad
but
that
we're
I'm the
also very
woman
fickle. It's hard.
and
We're hard to predict,
I'm the woman in the minority saying this, but it looks so bad. It's like pandering to us. Like, it are we really like we're not paying attention to anything except for she's a dark-skinned woman. And no one, I grew up with all white Barbies. The only girl that I saw on TV was like Tootie and like the normal stuff that brown girls like. We didn't see it. I understand the want to see somebody that looks like you. I get it.
You know why men get worried? Like, I think you are in the minority. And the reason that men get worried, even like rational men who don't really get worried, but just kind of notice. But there's also a bunch of men that are just like, oh, this is freaking me out. Like, that, um, to me, it's like, the whole marketplace has been pandering to women for decades. Like, there are no Target ads that are aimed at me.
Mhm.
No,
None. Every Target
zero.
ad is aimed at a female
I literally
or a
sometimes
fee
wonder, like, why do women
or a
bring their fucking
female
men into
adjacent like
Target? Like, why are
ally
they even
weirdo.
at Target? Why are men at Target? Like, I don't understand that. When I see women's husbands pushing the basket, I'm like, why did you bring him here? Just clogging up the fucking aisle. He's not
Man.
here for the good stuff. He's not here to look at the stuff that we're there for. Why do they bring
I
them?
do
I don't
know that
understand.
I am very aware that whenever I do go,
You're not
that
welcome. It's
it is like
hostile.
I can
either by
feel the
my own,
hostility.
yeah, well,
It's
I feel
palpable.
myself acting up too. I'm like,
Yeah.
because I do have a mechanism in me that's like, I don't really want to be here. So
Yeah.
I'm going to discourage the person that invited me here from ever
Yeah.
inviting me here again.
Yes. Yes.
So I'm going to
Yeah.
like, yeah. So yeah, Laura definitely prefers shopping alone, maybe with one of the daughters,
Sure.
maybe.
Sure.
Um, but when we all go, by the
Oh,
time we're checking out, it's like, it's
nightmare.
really,
The worst. They
I'm
don't
just
even
like,
have pizza and popcorn. They used to have pizza and popcorn at the end. They don't even have that
we're checking
anymore.
out. Yeah, we're checking out. She's real short with everybody. She's not, and I'm just like,
The worst.
we're not going to do this again, are we? This-
Thankfully.
We're not going to do
The
this.
wor-
Well, we'll do this again in like a month and a half, maybe.
yeah.
whenever,
Yeah.
whenever everybody forgets. I'm
Exactly.
joking. I
No,
like going to
it's
the store
true.
sometimes,
You're not welcome.
but like, yeah, but like, I think a lot of dudes that are just like kind of hardcore dudes, they're just like, dudes are just like, man, this world is getting real strange because yeah, I gotta admit it did cater 100% to me at one point, but now it is
Yeah.
catering 100% to the other side. And
They are happy about
I
Kamala.
like I like to see my wife and my girls happy. I like it. So when they're catered to and the store's got a new line of products or whatever and they like it, that's great. But it's like I am noticing something. There's a shift here
Yeah. No
and it's
tools
not
are
toward it
involved.
And it's not towards the, are you hungry? Here's some cheap food. It's like, it's towards the, we're going to make everything beautiful and expensive. And you're
But
going to
mostly
love it.
expensive.
And you're
And
gonna
you're going
need
to
a
love
new
it.
one every 3 months. You're gonna
And
need
if you,
Halloween ones and
yes. And
spring ones.
if you complain, your friends are all going to think you're cheap. They're not going to say it. Maybe some will, but they're going to think you're cheap because you're
Yeah.
not coming here to get all these things and you're
Yeah.
not conforming to all these things. And that's just, I mean, in general, I think there are some big theme differences between the sexes
Sure.
and I mean the whole like all of America. I'm pretty sure in Algeria it's not like that. I'm bringing up that country, but like I'm pretty sure in Algeria like all the ads are not targeted towards
Female.
women. You know, all the themes aren't targeted towards women and soft and feel and
Yeah.
images and but
Well, I
here
told you
it
guys a
sure is
couple
that.
weeks
It is
ago
that. Yeah.
that we all are like all of our businesses have like that score where they have to have so many of these things and so many of those things. So
Right.
women are definitely on that pin board that we have to put up to keep happy.
And to be fair, a lot of men, because I was saying like dudes, like dudes. I said
Dude,
it. I keep saying it like that, like
bro.
dudes, like real
I do,
dudes,
bro.
like
Yeah.
you know.
The
But
ones that
I got to
hold
say
up the
that,
flag on their campuses.
There you go.
yeah. So there's like the dudes, like dudes, and then there's like I guess feminist allies with XY chromosomes out there that appear as dudes, but
They'll punch you. They'll beat the shit out of you. Sure.
You
I don't even know,
guys.
like, or they just like they're really not, they don't really see that way. They kind of see things through the female lens, like
Yeah,
they see the world through their girlfriend's eyes instead of like
that sounds like heaven.
their
Where
own
is that?
eyes. Well,
Yeah.
you gotta, well, I mean, you'd have to like downgrade to some woke, like
Yeah,
110-pound woke guy that like has
Yeah,
a
that
10
I can
speed.
pin down.
He's
pretty
like, oh, I'm
much.
sorry, I can't come over tonight. I gotta, like, yeah, whatever. Like, can't, yeah, just,
Yeah,
yeah,
got beat up by his aunt.
not gonna,
Gotcha.
not gonna provide you a bookcase full of books and encyclopedias. That's for sure.
You'd probably be able to knock him out with one of those encyclopedias behind you, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you can have yeah, you can have one of those that's just like it totally understands you
Hmm.
and appeases your
Right.
every whim.
Mm-hmm. Or
He's gonna weigh, a buck 10. He's gonna order children's meals when you go out to dinner
And
and get
still eat,
offended when the restaurant is like, you must leave now.
please.
yeah.
So yeah, you can have all that. And I mean, in all honesty, like a lot of women out there are choosing that.
Hmm.
Yeah, they seem to be.
Maybe it's not in the buck 10 package, but in their brain, they're a buck 10 and they're, like,
Yeah.
okay, honey. Okay. Yes, yes, honey. Donald Trump he's a Nazi. Yes, okay, honey. Yes.
Yeah. I always wonder about the houses divided. I won't speak specifically, but I know a lot of houses are divided, like the husband maybe loves Donald Trump and the wife maybe has a little bit of Trump derangement syndrome. Wonder about how are those marriages going? Oh, we saw with Corolla, maybe. Oh my God,
That's a good example. That's a
did
really
you
good
guys
example because
see that?
I gotta tell you that a lot of like the like the Trump man households are just like, she has different thoughts. What? Like, what? Or just unaware, like maybe kind of
Brain
like
starts to fry.
living their own like it living in their own like dude world that they don't even realize they've got
Yeah.
a living thinking partner.
Oh my God.
She has thoughts of her own.
Oh, welcome to my home.
uh,
Who would have thought?
which I mean, I'm not even. It's
Right.
like like I hope that came off as a compliment.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm
No, but
woke.
it's like
I'm woke over here. I'm just so woke.
no, I think a lot of dudes are not really
Yeah,
concerned
sure.
because I think I would say like um of my life, I would say like women I've dated, been with have been definitely more left leaning.
Okay.
Uh, Not something I really concern myself with too much. It's like I feel pretty like I know where my three kids are going to lean, like because I
Yeah.
just assert myself in that way. So I'm not really too concerned about it.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
And I think like that's where like I'm, like one advantage that men have is like in the household, like kids kind of naturally, like if you kind of
Yeah.
just do your man thing, like kids kind of gravitate towards that a little bit
Sure.
more.
Yeah.
And I think when you talk to your children about this, you kind of explain like that mama looks at things, it looks at the world from one point of view of like maybe more of a defensive posture
Hmm.
against threats, against things like that, like being more careful. And dads look at the world at the different point of view. It's like, I thought I heard a threat outside. I'm going to go kick it in the face. Like, and just think it's a real different way to look at the world. Like, where a lot of people, it's not, it doesn't have to be like male female divide, where a lot of people look at the world like, what's it going to do to me?
Hmm.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will look at the world like, oh, what am I going to go do to it? What am I going to go put out there? Um, I don't know. Does that make sense at all?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So I was
I
explaining it to my son, and just and it's not good or bad or like it's just kind of in general how things are.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
You know, when you notice the natural world and you notice how certain creatures act. I don't know.
Govern yourself accordingly, right?
Just in general, like how do things act in general? In general, like not saying there's not a female boxer that can kick someone's ass or like whatever, but it's like in general, like that's just things are the way they are in general.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Like
Yes.
80% of this thing does that.
That's why stereotypes exist
Oh
because,
my goodness.
Damn, she
He
went there.
I'm
Is
glad you
that
did
not
because
true?
he asked me, he literally told me, he asked me, he said,
Well, kids notice things. So if
they're very analytical and they're very pure in their reasoning because they don't have all the baggage yet. He asked me,
right.
is a stereotype wrong if it's true? And I was like, are you listening to Adam Carolla? What?
Yeah, my kids did. My
And
kids
I
grew up with
kind of
it.
laughed a little bit and I was like, well, I mean, there's stereotypes for a reason.
Yeah.
So it's not wrong to notice things and to notice patterns, like again, Ace Man stuff right here. But I said it's just kind of wrong to prejudge a situation or a person,
Hmm.
like an
Based
individual
on
based on those things. Now, if
Asian
you were
race
to,
car drivers.
yeah, I didn't go into it with him like this, but if you're like an insurance actuary,
Mhm.
like you're not racist for just running hard numbers on
Yeah.
who dies from what and at what
Yeah.
age and what
Yeah.
color was that
Who gets
person. Like
insurance discounts and who doesn't?
you're not a
Yeah.
racist,
Yeah.
right?
Surprise, nobody does.
However, if one person shows up, if you're an insurance actuary
Women do.
and
Oh.
but if you're an insurance actuary and like your African American neighbor shows up at your house for a cookout and you're just like, oh, I'm sorry, Hal, but you can't come in because my paperwork shows that you're 2% more likely to have whatever. That would be racist,
Yeah.
but it's not racist to notice like large patterns as a whole.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That men speed and get in accidents more than women do. Yeah. True.
Yeah.
From an
See, I mean,
insurance
like right there,
actuary
I'm just gonna
perspective.
rise above that attack, rise above it. Me and Manny
Attack.
both. Like, you see the restraint that Manny and I are showing. We should be
Yeah.
commended on our restraint.
It comes with
Yeah.
years of wisdom.
I'd be taking people's what's it called when you have to go to traffic school? I take the test for them, but I have a perfect driving record. So yeah, in my
The
house on the
paperwork
one.
test or the physical test? Like, oh, the kid. Okay.
The fish,
Yeah, all of them.
all the tests.
As I was saying that, I realized I would probably involve a lot of disguises, which,
Oh yeah.
maybe you could pull that off.
Yeah, my husband was like a new car store dealer for a lot of years, and like you have to take like advanced training, like to learn about the cars or whatever, to be like a Dodge dealer or whatever. So I'm like,
You do for
I'm
real,
the
yeah?
one doing the test. Yeah.
Hey,
Oh,
whatever
that's
you
why
can do to
Ace.
help.
That's why when Adam Carolla talks about when he goes into like a dealership and he asks about how much horsepower a car
No
has, they're
one
just like, "What
knows.
do you mean? Like,
Like,
there's no horses. This is
my
a
wife
gas
took that
engine.
test. I
Why are
know
you talking
about.
about horses?"
You
It's
just
like,
blew
because
the lid off with this conspiracy. It
yeah,
just
it's like my
all makes
wife
sense
or
now.
my very intelligent daughter took this test for me, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The one that carries.
The
Yeah,
one that,
yeah.
oh man,
Mm.
well, we're always
Oh,
solving cases here on the show. It's good that we keep that track record going.
and
Friday
I was just
Craig
kind of I was scanning through our list of topics this week, and man,
Yeah.
we
jumped
kind
into
of
all
like
of it.
danced all over a bunch of them. And Jennifer Aniston had oil thrown on
See,
her.
I think that was for the
That
show.
was a
I
It
think if
terrible
we
was.
pick.
watched that
It
show, if I
was.
think if we watched that show, we would get it. Like I didn't even want to put that on the list, but it was in the
Oh,
group chat. I was a
it
little
wasn't
bit.
actually like a protester. It was
No,
for,
it
Yeah.
was all staged.
I think it's because she does a morning TV show on Apple TV where she's a morning host on a morning
Mhm.
show. So I think that like Hoda out in the street or whatever.
Oh, I
It's one
hate
of
Maybe.
these people
those.
even more. I really hate these
Yeah.
celebrity
Fucking
scumbags
hate
even
all of
more
them. Hate them all.
because they're just like their fakeness is like they just keep finding new ways to be fake and phony
No
to earn more
bounds.
money. Yeah, they just like,
Mic drop.
yeah, they're
Yeah.
just like, just let's be faker tomorrow.
Yeah.
And we could correct it and be like, hey, everybody, just to make sure everybody knows this is not an actual, like, but just,
Yeah.
let
No.
everybody think it because it'll bring more eyes to our
They
show and
just
Apple.
ring they just read the one thing. It's crazy.
I mean, we'll get more into Kamala. We got a lot of Kamala time. It's
Oh,
going to
we
be
are.
full on cam time for the next couple months.
We
Well,
The
can't.
and she might go back to the
gaslighting.
Indians because we got a lot of Indians in this country too, I'll tell you right now.
That we
So,
do.
See, that was Trump's mistake.
yeah.
Trump should have picked Vivek Ramaswamy and gone full after the Hindu vote.
Well, JD Vance's wife's got she's a little bit Hindu.
Yeah, and then Jay, Vivek would be like being so harsh on Kamala right now.
Oh,
Vivek would be saying like,
he is giving
"Call her
little
a
digs out in
fake."
the streets. Yeah.
He would be going hardcore. I think Trump. I don't know.
I don't know
Only
about
time will tell.
JD.
Only time
I
will
don't know about
tell.
JD, but I do know that Trump seems a little bit calculating in the things that he does. So who knows? Oh my
He's been a
goodness.
little like my com. The thing I'll say about JD Vance so far after he was picked is that when I see him talking on TV, I change the channel or start watching something else within about 15, 20 seconds. Cause
His mouth
man,
is weird, right? I have a weird mouth.
snoozer. I don't
He's
even
got a
watch him
weird
long. He's
mouth.
just like, hey, everybody, let's fight hard and let's fight hard, everybody. It's like, okay, click.
Not today.
Let me know when the big guy starts talking shit about everybody. Cause man, you're boring. Like you're not weird. I'll defend you against that. But it's like, and you're not like a radical whatever, but it's like, whew, snoozer,
Yeah, his
snoozer.
weirdness. It's so
Yeah.
funny. Oh, the gaslighting. I just want everybody, I don't think you understand it unless you've been gaslit. Like,
Hmm.
unless you've really been gaslit, I'm going to say that lowly, unless you've really been gaslit by a motherfucker, like, I don't think you can understand what's happening. But it's just,
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah. It
how
has
are you
like a
going to say
different,
that?
that's a, I don't think, yeah, I think like even myself, like the gaslighting term, I have to like I know it now, but I had to like keep looking it up for a while because it didn't
Yeah.
really like that
It
level of being
it
lied
makes
to
you
really
feel
wasn't
crazy. Like
something
they
I
look at you straight in
experienced
the face and
before.
they're like, "You're this," and it's like, but they're actually this. Like if I was wearing a purple suit and somebody standing in front of me was wearing a beige suit, and I said, "Your suit is purple." God, why are you wearing a fucking purple suit? Like it's so crazy. It's like it's just mind blowing. And unless you've actually
Yeah.
lived it and you don't see it, like they're just like
I haven't lived
just
it on a personal
mm,
level, but I'm starting to see it like on the political level where like, I mean, I guess my first experience, well, most notable, I guess, was when Obama was like, if you like your doctor, you'll keep your doctor, and the average family will save $2,500 on health insurance. And it was like,
boom.
I'm not sure how we will do that, but let's see. And it's like, oh, now it's $2,500 more.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And then there's all these reports of like, you see speeches of the guys that wrote Obamacare that were just telling, like,
Yeah.
they didn't realize they're on camera when they were telling like crowds, like, oh, yeah, healthcare is going to go a lot, it's going to be a lot more expensive.
Yeah.
And then they were, like there's the guys that created Obamacare are on camera, on film in places saying, yeah, that was a big lie. We knew it was going to cost more because
In
they didn't want to say there was just it was just a huge lie to get government insurance.
in California, my homeowner's insurance said, you have until this date, but we're out. We're no longer writing policies in California. So now there's like three companies that write in California and
Yeah.
it's triple. It's gone up triple. Like
You're probably
insurance
going to get
is,
screwed. You're going to get screwed for a while, but then it'll just be like there'll be a huge government subsidy that comes in because they can't, I think I was saying that before, like they're not going to let homeowners in California be uninsured.
but that's the thing. Be careful what you say because I think that that is the ultimate goal. Because if you can't be insured, then you can't own this house, and then the bank can take your house. So if they want, you
Yeah,
will own nothing
maybe
and you will eat bugs and you will be happy if they can not let you get insured. Uh, one of
that's just
our,
real. That's just a really, you might be
it's
right
dark. It's
because they're
dark.
crazy, but
It's dark.
that is a real risky, like
So
economy depression. Like,
So we were getting quotes,
yeah,
and we have a listener, a friend of the show, Jeffrey Lee. He has a brother that's in the insurance game, and he gave me his number, brother-in-law. We called him and we told him about a quote that we got from farmers, and he said, take that quote before that fire says, like, take it today, like send over whatever you got to get that quote. Because if they're gonna honor that quote, get it now before that fire determines that they're not gonna give it to you. Like it's just that's how crazy it is in California. He's like,
yeah.
do it today. Make it happen today. Nuts.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I think that at some point, well, I could be wrong because I'm looking at a pattern where they just keep every problem they just like we'll just
They
print more
bail it
money and
out.
throw it. We'll
Sure.
just print more money. We'll borrow money, print more
But
money.
if they're
We'll just be
trying to go
like,
to like the not the money part, if they're trying to get rid of the money, which you see that they don't take coins, they don't take cash. Oh, we don't take older $100 bills anymore. Like if they're trying to get rid of cash in a lot of situations, they are, it would make sense that that would be something that might be in the next phase of
yeah, I don't know.
liquidation.
That's a real tricky scheme to be playing where yeah, you could force a lot of people that where they just can't own a home anymore, but it's like our economy is still based upon homes having reliable value. So
BlackRock,
if all of a sudden, well, even
they they changed it though
BlackRock
during
doesn't,
2020. They bought up a bunch of the
right,
homes,
but
like the single family homes that were bought up by them.
BlackRock is not going to buy those homes from them to become worth less because people can't afford or buy them or have insurance. BlackRock's game is that we're gonna pay cash for a $500,000 home because we think it's going to be worth 750 or a million. So that's what I'm saying. Like that's a real dangerous game to be playing to where they're going to devalue all of a sudden by making insurance impossible, all of a sudden devalue a ton of homes to where okay, maybe then BlackRock swoops in and buys them up really cheap, but again, you still need people to be, I guess they just rent them back out to those people. Yeah, that's just a real,
The
Probably.
rents are crazy. I saw an ad today on
that's a
Facebook
real, I
for
mean,
somebody was
if you're a
renting it.
maniacal, like if you're like just I mean, just real quick, if you're a maniacal, rich, whitey, fat cat,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
You don't need to take and you want to stay rich and you want to become richer. You don't need to take these kinds of risks where you're like taking fundamental risks about
Is it a
like
risk
our
though if
entire
you're already
economy.
if
Well,
Tampa
yeah,
can?
because it like you can buy up a bunch of houses in a neighborhood for $400,000 each, but it's really important that those houses become like it's important for those houses to become more valuable. Like it, I don't know.
Either.
I don't
It's
know. That's a
chaos if
maybe
what they're
the
creating is
okay. So maybe
chaos.
the long game is, and I'm not an expert. Maybe the long game is like no one owns anything, and then they're just renting everything.
Hmm.
But even then, you are fundamentally changing humans
So,
to like
yeah,
no ownership. You better be real careful because like or yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I
I think
know. Oh, I
I
wanted
don't
to
know.
tell you guys, there's a website that was,
Even the Chinese that are dictators in a communist country can do whatever they want. They even realize there are some limitations to how much you can fuck with like just
The
fundamental human
populace.
nature before they just start, they start ripping you to shreds.
Right.
Or they
well,
become so
they've told
poor
everybody that
that
you
they
can't,
can't.
Manny, your forecast of purchasing a home, is that something that you see happening? Like my children don't see that. They don't see it, right? Like that is not something that they foresee
Unless I
purchasing a
get
home.
unless I land a really high paying job. No, I don't see it happening anytime
Right?
soon. Yeah.
So that is a thing that people are not foreseeing. Like this generation below ours, they don't foresee that for themselves.
Yeah,
So
that's
because
terrible. Yeah.
it's unattainable. So and
I
it's
have seen other
unattainable
friends.
because BlackRock and all of these companies have come in and swooped up all of the affordable homes. Like there's a couple empty houses in my very own neighborhood that have been empty. They're just empty. You can see that they're empty.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I don't yeah, we'll see. These are
Yeah.
big things.
Yeah.
I don't know that do small groups of people make these things happen in the human condition, or are they just kind of taking advantage of these things happening in the human condition
Oh, I think
where
that COVID was a big
people
part
at
of
the
it.
same team at the same time people value ownership of things a little bit less, or there's people that
Sure.
are just like I don't really want to own like mow the lawn, that's kind of lame, right? You loser,
Right.
you boomer losers, and you're
Yeah.
mowing your lawn, like that's lame, bro. Like you should just live in
Yeah.
a
Dubai
this
is
and
gonna make that
small and
that
like just
that mile long city that's high and
yeah, well I guess
long,
they're
right?
kind of scrapping that plan a bit, but
Oh, okay. Because of floods.
I don't know. For I don't know. Like, is BlackRock making it, trying to turn the world into like a renter, or is BlackRock like all these dumbasses don't want to buy stuff anymore and like kind of do the commitment? They all just want to rent stuff short term and not really
I
commit
don't
to
know, but
stuff.
during
So,
the pandemic, they've soaked up a lot of property and no one's talking about it. Like it's not really something that's being discussed, but
mhm.
there was a lot of property that was consumed by them.
Yeah, I guess that's a big
So
question. Like, I think about that. Like, can they make it so, or are they kind of like looking at like humans don't really value things like gardening and improving your backyard because I can just be in this space and be on my phone and have a virtual backyard and like
gosh
Hmm.
dang it.
it's
Yeah.
just I'm not saying it's good or bad. It's just like humans are different. So it's a thing
Yeah.
of like, can they change things, or are they really just kind of maybe speeding up things that we're already going to do anyway because we're just kind of humans in mass, or just kind of dumb and
Hmm.
kind of lemmings or whatever. But all right, let's wrap it up.
Happy Friday,
Y'all done?
Chris.
Yeah. Well, no, I think the question is, are
Thanks
you
for
done,
asking.
Christopher?
I'm done.
Thanks for
I'm
asking. No
done.
one asked. I am done. Thank you.
Y'all do what you want.
Get
Have a
it on,
great
everybody.
weekend. Yeah, more
Right.
stuff to come. We'll talk about the political stuff more, but maybe if we do, but there's always so
Something
much
tells me
more
we
exciting
will.
stuff going on.
Tonight
Yeah.
was fun. You guys have a good
Yeah.
weekend.
You
You
too.
as
Cheers,
well.
everybody. Do what you want.